Okay, now we're done with our first hazard. First hazard pa to ha. Next, we have your sharps. Of course, you're all familiar with sharps. Of course, venipuncture during our mga skin puncture. No? So, syringe is usually one of our companions po sa lab. And of course, sharps, what you need to remember about sharps is, again, you should not recap needles. Ideally, no recapping of needles. But again, since the Philippines is a very developing country, no? Love you, Tatay Diggs. Ew. Okay, sorry, no recapping of needles again. So, since again in the Philippines, dili man ta ideal in the ideal setting. So what we do is again fish, di ba? Fish method. Do not attempt it like this, okay? So again, always fish out method. Okay, don't follow me, munang na-prick ko. Okay, alright. That's another chika. Dila ko mo chika anak karon. Okay, kaya madugay ito. Alright, and if ganang-gani ka mo recap, in the outer, in ubang countries rather, in developed countries, they have a mechanical device na ilahang buhaton para mo recap. So like after ni mo og venipuncture, naanay device here sa kilid sa needle, na mo na siyang i-activate para matabunan ang needle. Okay? Ayan, that's for sharps. Okay. And again, sharps containers, of course, it's very understandable that it should be closable, puncture resistant, okay, of course, leak proof, and it must be labeled, of course, biohazard. As you can see, na yung mga linya na full. So of course, ayaw siyang paabutan na ma-full na yun, kaya musubra na siya. So bisag mga naapa na diri, ilabay ang whole container, okay? Dili kay imong iyagyag ang sulod na i-reuse ang container. No, it should be disposed, okay? Disposed ginatanan, alright? Ayaw, suhira akong co-intern sa Velez. Nang name drop ng school, charot. Ayaw, suhira akong, co-intern sa Velez. Ang yang ibuhat is, pag humana mag-fleb sa Soto, what she did, kay iyahagi ana sa amuang dako na container ang sharps. Wala niya gilabay ni tanan. So again, this should be disposed all together. Okay? So mutong na-prick po siya. Okay. Ayan, dapat di ta ma-prick. Okay, dapat careful. No recapping. And if mag-recap man gani, fish out method. Okay. Alright. Next is, of course, you have your chemical spills. Of course, night times sa lab na magamit ang chemicals, especially in your histo techniques or usahay po sa CM. For most of the time, histo techniques, most of these chemicals are carcinogenic, so we have to be very careful. So what we do is, if mabutangan ato ang skin, you should flush, again, flush with large amounts of water or flush with running water for how many minutes? At least 15 minutes, okay? Again, unsay buhaton nato, if mayabaan ta og chemicals atong skin, flush the area with large amounts of water or running water for about pila ka minutes? 15 minutes. Please lang. Okay, alright. And again, di ka mo neutralize. So, dili ka magpabibo-bibo na, uy, acid, ang nabutang sa imong skin. Let's put it with some sodium bicarbonate to neutralize. Pa, o di mas, nag-cause ng harm kay it, burned the area noon. Okay? So again, if spilan maganig acid or chemicals, please flush again with large amounts of water for how many minutes? At least 15 minutes. Okay. Alright. Ayan. Again, no neutralization. Do not neutralize yun sa skin. Okay. Okay. Alright. Then again, you have your eye wash station and laboratory shower. Wala pa ko katry sa laboratory shower. Pero ang eye wash station, medyo na-try. Okay, alright. Nag-toothbrush ko. Joke lang. Okay, again, eye wash station if masulod ang chemical sa imuhang mata. And of course, you have your laboratory shower if overall nasa body ang night chemicals. Okay. Next, of course, is your chemical handling. Always, we follow this, what do you call this? This rule of thumb, green thumb. Rule of thumb. Acid should always be added to water. So, A, T, W. Alphabetical Japan. A, T, W. So, Sir Mark, so unsa may naanadaan sa container? So, the container, my gosh, the container should already have water. Okay? And then, acid na ang ibutang dira. Okay. So, acid should always be added to water. ATW. Acid to water. Don't forget. Again, dapat ayon na siyang baliha because it can cause heat in chemical reactions. Okay. Alright. And of course, pipetting by mouth. Di na ta maggamit og ba sa pipetting. Other stuff na lang. Charot. Again, pipetting by mouth not allowed because you already have your micropipettes. You also have already an aspirator for your serological pipettes. Okay? Alright. And of course, you have your labeling of chemical. Of course, diba? included sa akong introduction, mga unlabeled relationships, char. Again, you should label also your chemical. Sa medtech, important yun ang label. So if medtech ka, masugot ka ng mga unlabeled stuff, are you sure na medtech ka? Charot lang. Okay, again, label taha, label always. Chemical labeling, ato ang specimen label. Okay. Alright, so ang hazardous chemicals, again, should be labeled if it's either poisonous ba, corrosive, or carcinogenic. And we follow what we call as your NFPA, or National Fire Protection Association diamond symbol. So this is a system used by firefighters when they encounter particular hazards in the area. So what we have here is, again, your NFPA diamond symbol. So again, third year na mo, supposed to be dapat first year, kabalo na kaani. You have already known this by heart. Lumalabas din to sa boards, guys, okay? So how do you remember this NFPA diamond symbol? So you first create a diamond, okay? Divide it by 4. Start with right, okay, right? So you were born right. Okay, so muna siya color, di ba? Yellow, white, blue, and then red. So you were born right. Okay? So you were born right. So again, if makalimot ka sa color coding, create a diamond, divide it by 4, start with the right. Okay? So you were born right. Okay? So muna siya. And again, of course, dili ra dito mo stop ang atong pag-memorize. Okay? So dapat appeal pa ni mga numbers. Okay? I know, lisod siya, pero lumalabas sa boards. Trust me, guys. Okay? So again, you have your fire hazard, instability, specific, and health hazard. Okay? So again, usually ang nakabutang ana sa chemicals kay ana. So example, 3 daw here, W with a strike through, 2, 1. Inana na siya. So 3 meaning at the reactivity, shock and heat may detonate ang chemical. There is a specific, so W with a strike through meaning use no water. 2 siya sa health, so meaning hazardous. And 1 siya sa fire, meaning above 200 degrees Fahrenheit, iyahang flash point. So inana na siya. So you have to memorize again the meaning of the different numbers. Okay, sa imuhang, NFPA diamond symbol. Now, okay. Now, we also have what we call a general nagyod na kanang pag-determine of hazard, and what we call 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 na siya. So we have again a mnemonic. You have no, SMSX. Ayan, no SMSX. Nako, sino pa bang nagte-text sa mga X nila? Charot lang. Again, no. So of course, you have no hazard. S, you have your serious. M, you have moderate. S is severe. Sorry. This is slight. This is severe. Serious. Serious. And then X is extreme. Okay? So you have no, slight, moderate, serious, extreme. So this is general, ha? So wala siya ga-follow sa NFPA. General hazard. So again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. No SMSX. Okay. So it's easy to remember. No SMSX. Okay, alright. Okay. Again, don't forget about the NFPA diamond symbol, guys, and of course your general hazards. Again, what is considered to be the most effective way to break the chain of infection? Hand washing. What is the most harmful biological hazard to lab personnel? That is your coccidioides immitis. Okay? How many seconds should hand washing be done? At least 20 seconds. Who is the father of microbiology? Anton van Leeuwenhoek. Okay. Pero kung buang ako rin katubag-tubag dire. Okay, alright. Anyway, and the last for chemical labeling or chemical hazard is your MSDS, or also known as your Material Safety Data Sheet. So sa MSDS, dira na makita nimo ang different information about the chemicals. So iyahang mga characteristics, etc. So again, as you can see, tanan na except lang yun sa electrical hazard sa chemical. Walay anything about electrical hazard sa MSDS. Okay? So, unsa na hazard ang wala sa MSDS? Electrical hazard. Okay. Alright. Now, we go to our next hazard, and that is your radioactive hazard. Again, this is not quite common in the routine laboratory because, again, routine clinical lab do not usually deal with radioactive substances. But again, there are still other laboratories that deal with radioactive hazards. Now, again, radioactive hazards, the presence of radioactive substances. So usually for radiologic or X-ray testing. Unsa gani colors atong radioactive na container or like waste container? It's orange. Okay, so empty sock na empty sock. Okay, all right. Now next, of course, we have your electrical hazard. Since most of the laboratory, okay, they use, of course, electrical equipment. So the presence of electrical hazard is there. Okay, so again, all electrical equipment, please take note, should be grounded. Okay, grounded with 3-prong plugs. 3-prong plugs. Grounded with 3-prong plugs. Okay. Now, if an electric shock occurs, you never touch the person, okay? Because as far as I remember sa physics daw, char, kung na-electrocute ang someone, katong next na mo touch niya, ang greatest amount of electricity kay maato niya, okay? So, never touch the person. It's either imong i-turn off ang device or you use a non-conductive glass or wood object to remove the person from the source of electricity, okay? So, never touch the person if na-electrocute siya, okay? Kaya ka mo nang duha mo kirig. Alright. Next, of course, we have your fire or explosive hazard. Since, of course, we also use alcohol lamps in your bakte, in your Bunsen burners, and etc. So again, the fire hazards can also be there. So again, there should be post-evacuation routes and detailed plans to follow in the event of fire. Now, we have your different types of fire. Again, very basic. You should review on this. Dapat na sa first year pa lang. You have, again, different types of classes of fire. So, you have A, B, C, and D. So, you have, again, A, wood, paper, clothing. B, flammable organic materials. So, how do we remember this? Class B, basa. Okay, diba? Basa. Flammable organic materials. Oil, grease, paint. Ayan. Oil, grease, paint. And we have your C, electrical. So, how do you remember? C, you have kuryente. O, diba? Okay, kuryente. Letter C, kuryente. Electrical. Okay. D, combustible metals. Wala na ako yung mnemonic, anak, guys. Sorry naman. Basta combustible metals, you have magnesium, titanium, and sodium. Alright. Now, for fire extinguisher, again, ang class A ra ang water. The rest, usually, they use dry chemicals, carbon dioxide, and sand or dry powder. Okay? Alright. And of course, you have your E, arsenal fire or arsenon, yeah? And K, you have kitchen waste, of course. K, kitchen, cocina. Okay. Alright, now class E is the type of fire na we don't use any extinguisher. Rather, when there is arson, what we do is just to let the fire stay as it is. Okay? So, ato siyang biyaan, anad na mo ana, or maayo mo ana, charot. So, biyaan ninyo ang fire lang, and then ipalayo lang itong mga prone to the fire. Okay? So, you leave the fire where it is, and then you remove the vulnerable things na makakatch of fire, like wood ba, paper, etc. Okay. Alright, again, that's arsenal. Okay. Arsenal fire. Okay. So in case of fire, again, what should we do? My gosh, please take note of this mnemonic. Again, raise. So first is rescue anyone in immediate danger. A, activate the alarm institutional alarm system. C is contain. So you close all doors to potentially affected areas. And letter E, extinguish. Extinguish sa una, okay? And if not, evacuate. So again, nigawas ni sa boards daw sa una. So ang question was, unsay meaning sa E sa raise? It's either E, evacuate, B, extinguish, C, exit, or D kay... no, sayop. Unsa day ang meaning sa R? Unsay meaning sa R sa race? It's either run, rescue, something. And then of course, if wala ka kabalo, you will say run. Okay, again, R is rescue. And letter E, una sa gyud ang extinguish. And if di na nimo ma-extinguish, you evacuate the place. In case of fire in case of fire. Unsa na mnemonic ang gamiton? Race. But how to use the fire extinguisher? Lahi na mnemonic, and that is your pass. So pass. So, again, how to use the fire extinguisher? Pass. In case of fire, unsa na mnemonic? Race. Okay? So, pass, pull the pin, aim the nozzle at the base of the fire, and then squeeze the handle, sweep the nozzle from side to side. Okay. Alright, so again, pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and sweep the nozzle from side to side. So, pass. Guys, as in, kanina mga basic mnemonics, mugawas yun sa boards. Sa review, sa ganing balik-balikon. So, as early as now, it's better and it's best that you memorize all of this or familiarize. Sige ra yung balik-balikon. Pass, if fire extinguisher. Raise, if, again, in case of fire. Okay? Alright. Next, we have your, of course, physical hazards. Of course, kanang magdinangag ka, magsikag dalagan-dalagan sa sa lab, maslide, and also those are physical hazards. Again, dapat imong hairs, mga kanang tagas buhok, dapat itay og well. Okay, that's your physical hazards. Okay. And there is a hazard here that is not included, and that is what you call your ergonomic. Okay? Ergonomic hazard. Okay? Ergonomic hazard refers to repetitive. Sige, paulit-ulit. Repetitive actions that strain, okay, the musculoskeletal system. So example, improper posture, musculoskeletal system. So improper posture, kana mag-mouse for long periods of time, di magsakit mo here. So again, repetitive actions, repetitive activities that put a strain on your musculoskeletal system, that is known as your ergonomic hazard. Okay. Medyo dili kayo known na siya na hazard or wala kayo siya gina-emphasize. Pero yeah, mugawa siya gyapon siya usahay. So again, ergonomic hazards, strains or activities that put a strain on the musculoskeletal system. So improper posture while sitting, yung repetitive na paggamit ng mouse, okay. So again, ergonomic hazards. And of course, you have your healthcare waste management. You're all familiar with this. Dapat na-memorize na to. Diyos ko. Malupigan mo sa mga freshman role. Charot lang. Okay. Competitive. Okay. So again, you have healthcare waste management. You have, of course, black, non-infectious dry waste. Green, you have non-infectious wet waste. So mga kitchen dietary waste. Yellow, of course, your infectious and pathological waste. So anatomical, pathological, mga cut arms, and of course, atong mga lab waste. Yellow, container with black band. Chemical waste, of course, including heavy metals. Orange, radioactive waste. And of course, red is for our sharps. Okay. Alright, so that's the end of our presentation for laboratory safety. Again, this is very basic, just a review, okay? And of course, sa ganito, what is considered to be the most harmful biological hazard known to laboratory personnel? That is your coccidioides immitis. Okay. Now, what is again the best way to break the chain of infection? That is your hand washing. And how many seconds should hand washing be done? At least 20 seconds. Unsa na song atong pwedeng gamiton? Daghan. Pero ang most popular is Happy Birthday. How many times? Twice. Okay, next. What is the type of fire for wood paper clothing? That's Class A. What is Class B fire? Flammable organic materials. Basa. Class C, you have your kuryente, so electrical. And again, what are your components of the chain of infection? You have IREMS, infectious agent, reservoir, portal of exit, mugawa sa siya, mode of transmission, portal of entry, finally, to the new susceptible host, so IREMS. And finally, again, in case of fire, what should one do? Raise. R, again, is rescue, dili run, so dili ka mubiya. A is alarm, C is contain, and E is finally extinguish sa. And if di na makaya-extinguish, evacuate. And finally, how to use the fire extinguisher? Pass. Pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze the handle, and finally sweep the nozzle from side to side by Ariana Grande. Charot. Okay, anyway. So that's it again for lab safety. I hope you learned something, okay? And again, I hope to see you next time again in our next lecture. Okay, bye!